Hello, welcome to Pastor Jared Reviews.
You review what?
This time, a movie.
Ooh, a movie.
Frozen 2. And you are...
Jessica. I am the wife. I am here to keep the levity.
She's amazing. She brings the party. We are going to take your mindless entertainment and theologize about it.
That sounds super fun.
Not really. I mean, we're going to ruin your favorite characters in movies. No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're going to try and give you honest feedback from a Christian worldview about Frozen 2.
Frozen 2.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're not a Christian, you probably might find us weird. It's cool. We get it.
I'm okay with it.
We are weird. A little bit. Maybe not like you think, though. And you might still find this helpful.
Or entertaining.
Fun. Yeah.
We'll see.
So, Frozen 2.
Yep.
I'm not sure if they were trying too hard or not trying hard enough with this one, but this is kind of like the embodiment of a meh emoji for me as a movie.
Okay. All right.
Not the same thing my 5-year-old thinks.
No, tell me how you really feel.
But
she likes it a lot. She's a big fan.
Yeah. So, but they tried even harder with this movie to make Anna the hero.
Yeah, but it wasn't real clear.
They tried so hard.
It wasn't super clear.
And it was at they almost succeeded, but it was at the expense of character development. Like, all the other characters got stalled out in some way.
They wrote them out for a minute.
So...
And I feel like Anna could have done more on her own.
Yeah.
Because her perspective on the world is like so pure, in a sense, and that she could actually care about people in love and has a purity of love in that way. I
think there was some things to be developed in her character even too.
Sure.
That just being the like altruistic, everything has to be right. We're gonna make everything right kind of person all the time. Ignored some of the immaturities from the last movie that they were exploring in the last movie, which they actually did a good job with. I feel like exploring some of those immaturities. There were more immaturities to be had there.
Sure.
In terms of actual substantive immaturities. Okay, so, before we get there though, let's talk about some positive things about this movie.
Let's do, because there were some positive things about the movie.
My 5-year-old loves it.
She's a big fan, so that's a positive for me.
It is very pretty.
It is.
It's very well done.
Lots of colors.
Yep.
High quality, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I can't draw like that.
Like, someone with hundreds of $1 million budget should be able to do.
Sure.
Also, the script is pretty decent. Okay, there's some things that on the deeper level of where they were taking things that I feel like were problematic, but the script itself, it was fine.
Yeah. Entertained.
Christoph, actor Jonathan Groff, singing all the reindeer parts.
That's skill. Good job.
That's impressive.
Yeah, for real.
I mean,
I can't.
Somewhat forgettable song, but impressive. That he sang
the kids
all
remember
the parts.
it. The kids remember it.
My kids remember it.
They were singing it the other night.
It doesn't have the Let It Go moment song. Sure. That song is so iconic. It's so catchy. It's such an earwig. It's just gonna stuck there.
Yep.
Obviously, it's almost irreplaceable in terms of that.
Yeah, it's hard to compete with that.
But it has some decent music, The plot is okay, go to the forest, find the voices, solve the mystery, save Arendelle. It works, right? The plot's fine. It's
all right, yeah.
It's what they do with it that sometimes I have a problem with. Where the negative gets real negative is in the character development, for me.
Okay.
It's the character development. Okay, it's what they do with what they're given. So they were given some characters that had some obvious flaws, and there was the ability to explore them further, or see other flaws in them, or whatever. And we instead just stalled out on their characters, and instead it was just like, let's just solve a mystery. It felt like an episode in a TV series versus like a a movie where we're supposed to go on this journey of these characters changing.
Do you think they were trying to do too many at one time? Like, they didn't feel like they could take the depth of each one?
Maybe. I don't know. I that's possible.
That's my guess.
I can't dive into their
you can't say why they did
thinking
what they did,
on it.
but...
I think they got lost too much in the spirit world stuff.
Yeah.
Personally,
With all the
to
different
develop
spirits.
real characters.
Sure.
And so they had
that became its own character, and
they
it
had
overshadowed
the
actual
virtual
characters,
characters, the spirit characters,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't know. We can get into those a little bit, but I'm not. The spiritual side of it wasn't impressive to me. The fun, playful wind, but then calling it and giving it a personality and personifying the wind would have been fine. But then calling it the wind spirit and making it spiritual. Well, the only spirits in our world, from a Christian worldview, the only spirits in our world besides Holy Spirit and the human spirit are demonic spirits.
Right.
So this is like not
it gets to
good
dangerous
thing.
ground.
Yeah, if you're talking about worshiping nature, that's demonic. That's specifically what God tells us not to do.
Right. Sticks and stones and whatnot.
So it gets a little too real there sometimes for me. I get that it's a make-believe world. Anyway, we'll get into that. So the next thing, the sisters are perfect now in this movie. They come across as perfect. Like, they're character-wise. They're
finally getting along.
They're
finally
always
going
to do the right thing in this movie. It seems like they love each other as sisters, which is amazing. I love that aspect of this movie.
Yeah, I love that a lot.
Huge.
The familial love, the family importance.
I mean, that's in fact
at the start.
Probably the biggest positive for this movie for me. Is the same big positive from the first one, which is not real good for it, but which is that from a Christian worldview perspective, biblical love is not romance.
Right.
Love is not romance.
Right.
And they broke that mold, the Disney mold, and they dived into the fact that love is bigger than that, and they dived into familial love, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. Like, that's what you want. That kind of a moral coming out of a movie like this. And they did the same thing in this movie, but then it got lost in sort of a quagmire of pseudo spiritual, new agey weirdness at times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So here's another element, character-wise. Kristoff.
Yeah, bloody.
He's sidelined.
So much potential for Kristoff.
The whole movie.
I missed him. He was good.
He's sidelined. We see him. He has lines.
There.
They just have no consequence. I mean, it's like the dialogue around his attempts to ask Anna to marry him are like not.
How was that for you as a man who's done a proposal?
And kind of annoying.
Really good one, yeah.
It was like the equivalent of a fart joke. Every time she would like interrupt him, and like it's like, okay, here we go again. Okay, of course, it's happening again.
He kept tripping over.
There we go.
Like...
one more time. Play it again, Sam.
Well, you would expect by the time that you're in a relationship where you're actually going into marriage that you're comfortable enough to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not all of a sudden we're doubting so many things about our relationship that it's completely unsteady, or maybe it's ending, and that's not hopefully the kind of relationship that you're experiencing, right?
Yeah, it just didn't represent for Kristoff any kind of development. Where in the first movie, he has a great character arc.
Yeah.
He goes from being a little bit of a jerk at times, to moving into someone who's trying to do something for others, and it matters.
Yeah.
So
I feel like his redeeming part of that, and I'm not sure if you have a thought for this later, but at the end when he finds Anna again and he's like, "I'm here. What do you need?"
Yeah.
And then he's like confident in who he is for her, and then going like saying that our love is not fragile. Like, those two lines were really, I felt strong for him, but it wasn't. It was almost like too little, too late with all the other stuff, because they built up the like tripping over himself so much.
His arc was to get in build up the confidence to be able to ask
be
her to
able to ask
marry
her.
him.
And that was all he did.
Okay.
He could have done more. He
Yeah,
has capacity
yeah.
for more.
They used his space in the movie to just kind of be fluff. It just didn't do anything. Olaf, he's kind of annoying in the movie. Sometimes funny, sometimes annoying. I don't know.
It's comic relief.
Yeah. So again, Christian worldview elements. Love is not romance. Love this. Non-Christian worldview elements. You've got Elsa's power now is spiritual in the second movie. In the first movie, it was just like this unexplainable. It's just magic. It's just this thing. It's just unexplainable. And that's the kind of thing that I deal with more, and I kind of enjoy more in these movies. I kind of like it better explained that way from a Christian worldview, because I don't want my kids engaging with non-real powers and thinking that they should engage with the actual spiritual power of the Holy Spirit, and getting those things confused and mixed up is possible. And so I didn't appreciate that switch. They shifted her into this spirit realm unnecessarily, in my opinion. And so any spirit besides God's Holy Spirit, you're talking about demonic spirits. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have angelic spirits, but that's not how these were portrayed. These were portrayed as earth spirits,
Nature
which is
spirits.
pagan, which is specifically what God tells us not to engage with. So Elsa herself is now a spirit. Okay.
And then sort of tries to put that on Anna.
Yeah.
Which is...
And
it gets really muddy.
Yeah.
It's just really muddy.
And that's where it's just odd. And so we had to get to the point to talk with our kids through that kind of thing. Now, I get that this movie would be a matter of conscience for parents in terms of, like, obviously, we allowed our kids to watch it.
Yep.
So it didn't get to the level of matter of conscience where we're like, we shouldn't watch it. We did get to the level with our kids where we're like, we need to talk about this.
We need to discuss it. And it opened conversation, and
It did.
it gave us opportunity to have those conversations again, as we've had before, when it comes to magic and movies and what's real and what's not.
Yeah, so it also opened up conversations about how love is more than romance.
Absolutely.
Which is powerful and effective conversation. That was great.
Yep.
And then it opened up conversations about real spiritual forces in our world that we actually are going to encounter, and things that are actually evil that they're calling good in this movie.
Right.
And so we had to address that because there are real evil forces that are really trying to derail your kids.
Right. And they come disguised as pretend and fluffy and fancy.
Yeah. And so as a pastor, and as a parent, then you have to walk your kids through that. You have to walk kids through that and help them to understand the reality of the spiritual realm and how this fake reality is echoing some parts of our world that actually don't line up with their worldview.
Right.
Don't line up with the Christian's worldview.
Sure.
So in terms of my rating for this movie, I give it as a movie 5 stars out of 10. 5 out of 10.
Oh, wasn't sure how many stars we were given. Okay, 5 out of 10.
Christian worldview stars, 3.5 out of 10. Christian worldview stars.
3.5.
3.5. I'm feeling a little salty on that one.
Yup. We'll add some pepper to you later.
What about you? Do you want to rate it?
Oh, I didn't put that much thought into it. I didn't know how many stars we were doing. I think it's entertaining for the kids. I think it's fun. I don't have a star value. I don't have a number. Our kids watch it more than once. So I feel like it can't be so down in the dumps because of that. Maybe
give it a rating?
6.5-ish.
6.5 on the movie stars.
on the
Christian
Stepp
worldview. You're gonna go there?
Christian worldview. I don't know if I'd put it quite as low as you did. I don't mind that it opened the conversation, and so for that I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That it had that view that we had to actually have the conversation. So I would be like a 4.5 or a 5.
In Christian worldview, on that side of things, this is made in a country that has Judeo-Christian ethics at its base. So at its core, in America, despite the fact that a lot of parts of America are veering far off from that.
Sure.
A lot of the good stuff that's still here,
there's still a foundation.
comes from that worldview. It really does.
Yeah.
So that's something that's been ingrained in us as a culture and as a society to a degree. So you can't deny that aspect.
Right.
And of course, Jelena's going to tell you what she thinks about it, our 5-year-old. All right. So, Jelena, what do you think about the movie Frozen 2?
Do you like it?
Yeah.
A little bit or a lot of it? A lot, yeah.
Thanks again for joining us for Pastor Jared Reviews, and hope you'll join us again.
Yeah. What would you like Pastor Jared to review next? Let us know.
Tell us what you think about Frozen 2. Bye.